National Train Show
Yay.
in Orlando, Florida. Woohoo! Nice and sunny.
Nice and sunny.
Welcome to part 2 of our show coverage from the National Train Show in Orlando. We've got more great products to see, so let's get started. A lot of excitement at the ScaleTrains.com booth, and here to fill us in on the details is Shane Wilson. Shane, let's kick it off with the N-Scale water tenders.
Awesome, Cody. Well, first of all, thanks so much for the Model Railroader crew coming to visit us here at the 2017 National Train Show. We appreciate all you do to help support us and get the word out. And for the National Train Show, we're continuing to expand our N-Scale offerings. We recently announced the N-Scale Tier 4 GEVO, the Carbon Blacks, and our next announcement are water tenders. And they're a natural extension of the Big Blow Turbine project because, of course, this is basically the same tender, just modified. We're doing a couple of different versions of the water tenders, doing the early water tender set. The early versions have the jackets on them. They look more like a turbine tender, and of course they have different water fills, so they're each unique to each other. We're doing the later version as well, so the early version will cover folks from, let's say, about the mid-1970s up through the 80s, even through the 90s, and then you've got the late version, which they did in, UP did in the mid-2000s to today, and we're also going to do those as well. And of course, you got the the Jim Adams and the Joe Jordan, got the American flag on the side. We're doing the black water tender as well. That's the one that ran with 4449 very briefly, and also ran on UP from the 70s into the 80s. And then we've had a lot of requests to sell the 23C tender and the 24C tender separately. Those are the ones for the Big Blow Turbine, and we're going to do those in unnumbered versions as well.
That's awesome, Shane. And now locomotives, too. You've had some big locomotive news for the modern guys with the Tier 4.
So absolutely. So Tier 4 GEVOs, of course, the HO ones are just about ready to deliver. Our fingers and toes are crossed. They're going to land in by the end of August. All that's due to shipping, so we're kind of at the mercy of the shipper, but looking good for this month right at the moment. And then, of course, we announced the N-Scale versions at the N-Scale convention back in June. What's really awesome about N-Scale is we're trying to do basically super detail in N-Scale like we've done in HO. Each one is not only road name specific, but road number specific with tons of separately applied parts, things like grab irons. You got 3 different body versions in the Tier 4s. You've got the early demonstrator version with a really long engine cabinet on it. You've got the early production version with the short square cabinet, and the late production with the angled cabinet. Ton of different variations, and we're looking for delivery on those in the first quarter of 2018. And price point unfortunately escapes me at the moment, but I think we're at about 120, 130 for non-sound, right around 200 for DCC and sound equip.
Very good. And then the carbon black hoppers, those are going to be available in HO and N-Scale, again, with a lot of that same high level of detail that people that know ScaleTrains.com have come to expect.
Well, Cody, what's really interesting about the carbon black for your viewers, we track trends, and we log every request that's done on our Facebook page, every email that we get, and one of the consistent trends we've seen is folks want a carbon black car. In HO, we're doing 2 versions of a 5750. One's a 1970s, one's a 1980s, and they look like box cars essentially, but they're actually covered hoppers, and they had bladders in the end that they would inflate with air, and it would force the commodity out of the car. We're doing one version in N-Scale in the 5750, and then a totally different version is the 4727. For the HO version, we're looking at delivery probably by the end of September, and for the N-Scale versions, we'll probably be here in December of this year.
And Shane, if viewers want to follow the cars, see when they're coming in, they can learn that through your website, right?
Yeah, so that's one of the great things. I'm really glad you brought that up. Probably the number one question we get is, when will my model be here? And if you go to our website, there's an ETA chart. You look at the header, and it says product delivery. Click on that. We keep that up to date. We update it continually. You'll see the latest date. In fact, we're planning an update this coming week. So when your viewers see this video, there'll be a fresh one up on our website.
Shane, as always, it's great to see you, and keep up the great work.
Awesome, Cody. Thanks to you and your team once again, and have a great show.
Thank you. All right, we're over at the Woodland Scenics booth where a new water system and 2 new mobile homes are features today. And here to fill us in on the details is Diana. And Diana, the realistic water and the water effects have been staples of the Woodland Scenics line for many years, but now you've grown that line with a lot of great new products.
Yes. Can I tell you about those? We do have some pretty exciting products. We have a new product that's new water. It's called a deep pour water, and it's designed to be able to pour deeper and to submerge items.
And now you also have some tints for the realistic water in a lot of different colors.
True. We do have some tints. We have 7 different colors. That's any color that someone would want to model in their water, you can use that. We also have, and I forgot to tell you on this back one, so I'm going to back up, the deep pour clear. We also have a deep pour murky. And then so for the clear, I can use any of those tints to be able to tint the water.
All right, and then you also have paint for before you pour the water in, and those are in different colors too for simulating various depths from the shoreline all the way into the deepest part of the water.
That is correct. I mean, you have lots of different waters or lots of different colors, and you're trying to do the depths. And so basically the yellow silt or an olive drab or a deep blue, all kinds of different colors. But it's going to seal the base as well as color it.
And then, of course, to finish it off, now you have some products, too, for adding waves and other highlights.
Yes, this adds to the water effects, and this is called water ripples, water waves, and some whitewater highlight. And so basically, if we're trying to do some foam and froth at the bottom of a waterfall or hit some waves, we're going to use the whitewater highlight. Or if we wanted so gentle movement on water, we're going to use the water ripple. And the water waves is going to be the more pronounced one that you might see at the beach or at the ocean.
And now, Diana, we also have 2 new mobile homes in the Woodland Scenic structure line here. We have the O-scale examples here. Why don't we start off with the Grillin' and Chillin'?
Sure. Let me tell you the Grillin' and Chillin'. It's going to be out later this month, the end of August. As you said, is an N and HO as well will be shipped out then. And it matches up with our dust plug system. As you can see that there's some lights in there.
And then the double-decker as well has a lot of nice features, too.
Yes, the double-decker will actually be coming out in September, also in all scales, and as you can see, it does have some movable items, and it also has the lighting. And if you look close, you might be seeing a favorite TV show back in the 40s or 50s.
So from water to trailer homes, there's a lot of great new products coming from Woodland Scenics, and if people want to learn more, Diana, they can head over to your website?
They can. They can go to woodlandscenics.com and find all kinds of videos or all kinds of more information about them.
All right, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for coming.
NHO and OM30 equipment is all here at the Bachmann booth, and here to fill us in on the details is Dave Melville. And Dave, can we start with the HO scale boxcars? These have a new feature, a flashing end-of-train device.
Flashing end-of-train device, right, and it is incredibly popular here at the NMRA show. Something a lot of the consumers have been asking for and have been asking us to make for a long time, so we're proud to announce that we're going to have this out in about 6 to 8 weeks now. Flashing end of the device, we're actually putting it on 5 different box cars to start with, and then we're also making it as an aftermarket piece, and it fits several of our other box cars by just changing out the truck.
All right, Dave, and for our N-scale friends, you've got a new SD9 locomotive coming out that's going to feature the Sound Value sound package.
Yeah, again, for our N-scale fans, a lot of detail in the N-scale, a lot of micro injected plastic molding and printing on those, and we're putting the Sound Value chip in there. Something the N-scalers really absolutely love. They've been eating up all of our new N-scale product with the Sound Value decoders pre-installed in there, factory installed.
And Dave, when are you expecting the N-scale SD9s to hit?
Yet this year, so we'll have them before Christmas this year. Christmas gift giving.
All right, and of course, OM30 narrow gauge, a very popular topic with model railroaders, and you have a new derrick car here in a lot of different paint schemes.
Yeah, absolutely. The derrick car, the ON30 guys, we've been making new product for them. We always have a few new ON30 cars each year. This year we're doing a derrick car, something that people have asked for. It's got the steam donkey right on the car itself. For those ON30 modelers that like that detail and those old-time cars, that's a must for your collection.
And it looks like you have 5 different paint schemes on display here, and these will be coming before the end of the year as well?
Absolutely. All the new product that we're showing here right at the show is going to be here available by the end of the year.
Well, I bet I know a narrow gauge layout at Model Railroad that could use one of those steam derrick cars. Dave, Dave, I really appreciate your time and thanks for the great products.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we're here with Gerry Leone from Off the Rails on MRVP. Gerry, good to see you again.
And I'm here with Cody Grivno from Cody's office from MRVP. How you
Yeah, but I'm not in the office today, so. But Gerry, getting serious here, a lot of great things to see if you've been to a national train show. Not only you get to meet the manufacturers, but all sorts of layouts, different scales, T-trak modules, club layouts, the whole shebang.
That's right. We saw. I was on 2 different layout tours, and we saw some absolutely magnificent layouts. We had some we didn't have the number of contest entries at the contest room this year, but the ones that were in there were just really high quality. It was very, very impressive. I mean, it was very inspiring.
And not only that, but a lot of great clinics this week, too. And that's a really interesting thing to bring up, is that not only are you learning about modeling, prototype, scale modeling, but you also get to meet the manufacturers. They're putting on shows and clinics now, too.
Absolutely right. And it's fun to be able to talk to them, find out where their head's at, where their direction is for their company, and you know, what's worked for them and what's not worked for them. That's the nature of this whole show.
All right, Gerry, of course, good to see you again. You got any new topics coming up for Off the Rails you can share with us?
No. Next month, we've got some stuff. If you thought you weren't going to throw stuff away this month, next month there's even more stuff you're going to keep. So, again, as I said in the episode, get building that extra room in your basement for all the stuff. So
if you have a problem with hoarding, Gerry's going to validate it.
I'm your hoarding master. I see you next time on Off the Rails.
And we'll see you back in the office. All right, a new locomotive and a new covered hopper here at the Intermountain booth, and here to fill us in on the details is Gene Fusco. Gene, well, let's talk about the Tier 4 first. A lot of great railroad-specific details on these HO models.
That's correct. We have announced and ready to release 5 road names, basically the first 5 railroads to order these locomotives. CN, CSX, Union Pacific, BNSF, and Norfolk Southern. All 5 of these locomotives actually have railroad-specific details, mostly centered around the cab area, PTC, antenna array, and the exhaust hatch areas.
And Gene, these are going to be offered with a motor-only decoder as well as a sound decoder?
That's correct. We have the ESU Loc Sound, both in the Loc Pilot, if I remember correctly, and Loc Sound Select. So that's our sound option and the DCC only.
And Gene, we'll switch gears and go over to the freight cars. A Pullman Standard 4785. I know a model very near and dear to your heart, yes, and one that I also I'm a big fan of too. Do you want to tell us about that, please?
Sure. The 4785 grain hopper is a car that was built by Pullman Standard in the mid to late 60s. New York Central owned a bunch of them. Penn Central had a bunch after that. And Pullman Standard, they built a bunch for themselves that went into lease service. Those cars saw service all around the United States, lasting up until almost the present time.
These are HO scale injection molded plastic models, but they're going to have a lot of separately applied details too, right?
That's correct. Etched metal roof walks, a lot of wire grab irons, and again, various detail differences on the roofs.
Very good. Well, it's good to see you, Gene, and thanks for sharing the latest. And if people want to learn more about the Intermountain line, they can head online to your website?
That's correct. Intermountain-railway.com.
All right. Thanks for your time, Gene.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, we're over to the Kato booth, and the Olympian Hiawatha is the big news here. We have the first test shots, and they're at the National Train Show, and here to fill us in on the details is Paul Knowles. Paul, we have the ABA set as well as the 9-car train.
Yes, we have an FP7. This is our first venture by stretching the unit out 4 feet to accommodate steam generator, just like prototype. So it's a very unique model for us. It has road-specific details like a winterizing hatch for the Milwaukee style.
And Paul, the FP7 and the F7B, those are going to be offered with factory-installed DCC as well, right?
Well, it's a twist on the factory installed. Our factory in Japan does not do that right now for us, so we'll be doing that here in the States. And we'll be doing it locally, so it will have a dash DCC number for just DCC. And we're working on, this is a stretch because we don't have item numbers, but we're working on a system that we can get sound into them too.
And Paul, the 9-car set, a lot of great prototype-specific detail on these Milwaukee Road cars.
Yes, the Pullman Dome, full dome, is a beautiful car. The glazing work, the glass work, flush-mounted dome glasses are just absolutely beautiful. The observation car, the next car that just is outstanding with the extra glass around the end, the solarium version. And there's even table lamps that are lit on the tables inside the lounge area.
Wow, that's spectacular. And when will these locomotives and cars be ready?
We are hoping to have them in early winter, so late October, first part of November is our current target date.
All right, well, that sounds good. This is really exciting news for Milwaukee Road fans, and thanks for taking time to share this with us.
Thank you very much.
Well, of course, we've shown T-trak modules on MRVP, and we have a really neat setup here depicting Route 66. And here to fill us on the details is Bruce Arbro. Bruce, do you want to tell us about your T-trak display here?
Absolutely. I'd love to share it with you. We've got into T-trak. We down in Mobile, Alabama area on the coast about 3 to 4 years ago. We see it as a way for people of all ages, of course, to get involved in in-scale model railroading, but model railroading in general, and especially for those who don't have the room, like a basement or a basement modeler.
And Bruce, one thing that's interesting, of course, with the MRVP T-trak modules is all sorts of different scenes strung together. But here you've really tied everything together, effectively creating a regular model railroad using the T-trak modules.
It wasn't really my intention at the start, but it just kind of grew. I started to do it on a theme, and I think the Santa Fe main line across the Midwest, the Speedway to Colorado, kind of influenced me. And so I think I'm going to continue all the way through New Mexico, Arizona, to the coast of California with the same way.
Well, Bruce, this looks just wonderful, and thank you for sharing it with us.
I appreciate sharing it with y'all. Thank you so much.
Well, that wraps up our coverage of the National Train Show from Orlando. And as the late Gordon Sully would say, so long from the Sunshine State of Florida. Take care. All right, well, one of the great things about the NMRA...
Hi, Gerry Leone here off the rails. We're talking to Cody Grivno.
Hi,
Grivno
Gerry.
of Cody's office. That's why they named it that way. So how long have you been active in the NMRA?
Oh, gosh.
Well, get out of the way. Well, I've been active in the NMRA for about 5-6 years, something like that. I'm sorry.